I know it's really rainy and stormy, so I'm trying to be mindful of that, and I'm grateful for you all for braving the weather to come and celebrate the opening of Indigenous Awareness Weeks. So thank you, Kuyanamit, for being here. My name is Aneeka Anderson, and I'm an urban Inuk from Ottawa. I was adopted through Inuit customary adoption when I was born, so my birth mother comes from Pengertung, Nunavut, and raised our whole family in Ottawa, where we all still are, so that's home for us. I work at the Office of Indigenous Initiatives here at McGill, where we have been planning alongside amazing collaborators and guests 2 weeks of Indigenous programming across the university, known as Indigenous Awareness Weeks. I won't say much more because it's not me you've come here to listen to, but I am excited to say that this year's Indigenous Awareness Weeks is the 11th annual series at McGill, and that's a huge accomplishment and something to celebrate for sure. What began in 2011 as 1 week of Indigenous programming has now doubled. Somewhere along the line, a group of organizers decided to take up even more space at McGill and do even more good work, doubling Indigenous Awareness Week to Indigenous Awareness Weeks. What we're launching today, because of that good work, is 2 weeks of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis events at McGill. We have a film screening tomorrow with Asinayak, who's an Inuk filmmaker based in Montreal. We have a lacrosse game on September 30th, dedicated to Orange Shirt Day and the Indigenous stewardship and roots of lacrosse. We have a community dinner cooked by an Inuk chef from Ottawa, Trudy Metcalf Co. A roundtable discussion with Inuit leaders. So we're going to have regional, national, and international Inuit leadership present at a roundtable discussion on Inuit self-governance. That's coming up this Thursday. And we have many, many other presentations that we're very excited for. And of course, this Friday is the 21st annual McGill Powwow. So they've been doing that on campus long before Indigenous Awareness Weeks came around, and I wasn't around at that time, but I like to think that maybe the powwow inspired more programming, a more long and, I don't know, maybe fruitful discussion around Indigenous peoples, a more robust presence in this time. So we really have so much to celebrate, that we're a small group, but I hope we all feel that way. And I'm so grateful you've all decided to spend your evening here doing so, celebrating. So with that, I'm going to call up Otsi'tsakén, who's a faith keeper from Kahnawake, who's going to share some opening words with us. So let's welcome Otsi'tsakén.
Ona kati tokkare ni wana kina akata wana kau. Nakiwa itini yachi lune ni wasotsira. Nene tini kakaro tena ate sihucha ate tini ore uma. Ne ya ketati teni tini yachi te sugawi na sugaya isu. Ne haito ate nora to hake. Haito anoros te jito muhe. Ona kiwa ine Akakweni Taniti Tanati Tawai Osuma. Nakiwaya Hidawata Nuaratu. Chinichiko was what the Jat when it was Sudate, Quanaknete Panuaratu, there's what he was, in the hole. Nakiway to Supamu, and there's what he was, the other rose, Neha as a water. Then an engine about you keep your starch and Hunjante. Chinahote Iakotennikonhrare Doreen suma. Na tunugo dia dohoko tera suma no kwasuma. Tiohatehkwen Tana tika pake ras ni ko tate ko kunga ne ki wai tutia te we ni a ko china ho te ne yu hete. Ko chini ore tika na karun. China ho te na wo gekso ne yu na to haje. Ko chino mo sunga ko chini ha dine agir ko tia tunu yu na to haje sa wo gekso. Ko chini ore tika harun tana chini ha dine Karihwatéhkwen ko di takanu jesrus ne to na do ko di ko di. Osto no te net ko wan. One giska ni ko na ni ko to ja ko ne di et no ra to ti se ki wai. Ye ko ti ra spi to ti wai no wa. Se yu ki at ke no haches. Tan ne yo ni to no na ka to wana aga to wana ye te en ko ye ko tu pau. Ene ko rati tunuche so tito kua ko ni ka tito serasas. Kwa tiniora akwek sko o luye ko. Ne kinya te ko tut ka hajes raudira na suma o stozi. O nas. O waru tani raudi kai. Tani ranu hangi katia toksru sa kwek no hujar. Ne kinyo ni te tinawara tuches. Tani ne kinyo ni ka yeni ni ka waraket. Tana tagi wai te quadras vie ti sei oro. Wasti newa o digete te ti sotto kuara di wera, qua kina da renase. Da di konhrara te stessa kit agut text ko ne ka ti no Johannes. Nena ka kweni ai pianis dokta. Quando tecni ti racquardo che tecnica te quatene ti stato ci ti do tia, ti codak nero to ha to no huccia. Agora na ye pisa ka sa tampene ka garak ko jet kadakko nen yo ni ne kia de genu hatos nen ya ko yo datos ne na nita au liwa ko ne ya li uni rati na ka roches ne atik sau kuma taka te shato te toka ki na to te hat na ko sa toste pakateni wa katena ya wa no ya ka ta hat na ka Iakotennikonhrare. Signora o na tia di stop padu ni ene kana kwante kwatan just to. Tan ne se ko ya de se ne ki wai so gini wa so gini nak to ta se un ni ka hawi se ko ai to de la je se. Tan se ai kweni ne ai kwa da kalite. Ona ka di paska kwante to wa nu ni kwa ni ko la kwe ko na tia kinora. Ne ki ko o hu cha ke ka tan ga ni ke te hote liwa na wa tan ne ya yu huni se yu kwen ne ko no se ai to wa tu ye se sko ne ya kwan tu ne se yu ko ta kaliten se ki ye chi to ona ka ti thoka ti na ka te liwa kwen. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I really kind of like only rush through what we call an opening. In our ways, if you do that in Longhouse, it would take an hour, could take 2 hours, depending on the men who would do that. And they would take their time, and they would acknowledge everything in life. And for our people, we call this the opening, the words which come before all things. In our creation story, when the Creator gave us, He made the first human beings. He took the living earth, and He made a human being, a male and a female life. And He took His mind and He gave us His mind. And those first human beings, their eyes, they began to blink. And then He took His fire and He put it in our bodies, in our blood. And then our bodies warmed up and we began to move. And then He breathed 3 times into our mouths. And then the first human beings began to talk. And so then He took the living earth, the clay of the earth from the riverbank, and He said, this earth is your mother. You came from her. And you always should love her and care for her and respect for her. And she will take care of you as long as the world is here. And give thanks. That's the only instruction the Creator ever gave to us as human beings. And our people say we don't have to write it in a book that thick. We write it in our brain and in our hearts. And we live it. and that's where it lives inside of us. And every day the earth and the world around us reminds us of this relationship that we have. So now we turn our words to our Mother the Earth and we give her our greetings. Every day, every night, every season, every year, she takes care of us. She watches over us. She provides us all the things that we need to live. And we live in a time, where we now have to start to think about what our Mother is going through. Because of the footprint of human beings in this world, our Mother is hurting and she's suffering. They say she's sick and she's sweating, and they call that now global warming. And she shivers, and they call it earthquakes and tsunamis. And she's full of fever, and these are all the things that are happening all around us. And that's because it seems like we've forgotten our path as human beings, and we no longer treat the earth as our mother. We treat her as something we can buy and sell and use. And so we need to change the path of human beings. Maybe here you are not those ones that do that. Maybe here you all understand this relationship and you're careful about it, or you want to learn about that. But the bigger money people and governments and things like that, they don't care about the earth as our mother. She is only something you buy and sell and use. And so we have to change their thinking somehow, in some way. Because if they don't change, our Mother the Earth will change it for us. And we see how powerful she can be. If you look at the cyclones and the hurricanes that are pummeling, Puerto Rico right at this second. We look at all the things that are happening and how the earth is burning around us. The earth is telling us something. So for this moment in time, we gather all of our minds and we give thanks to our Mother because she still cares for us. And our Mother, she wears a beautiful, beautiful ribbon dress, just like my ladies over here. And all the women, when they go into a teepee or a lodge or ceremonies, they always wear a dress. That's symbolic of this dress that our Mother the Earth wears. I call it a beautiful, beautiful earthly ribbon dress. And woven into that dress is all the grass life on the earth, all the different kinds of grass. And they all have special responsibilities, their food, their shelter, their medicines. And woven into that beautiful dress are all the root life. Everything in life comes from roots. Even for us, our roots, we come from roots. And when our roots are weak, then we will be weakened too. Just like our roots for us is our lineage, our ancestors, our language, our culture, our teachings of our old ones. This is the things that make us who we are. And so we acknowledge the root life in this world. And woven into this beautiful dress is all of the medicines that live on the earth. And we acknowledge the medicines that grow freely in the forest and in the grass life. We turn to the berry life, all the different berries on this earth. And we acknowledge the foods that we eat in the summer. The strawberry is the leader of all berries on this world. And for us in our longhouse, we consider the strawberry so special. We only have 2 songs to sing when we dance to give thanks. One is it's a creator's song, but all of the things that work in creation. And then we give thanks to Creator because the strawberries, the Creator planted that for us. And so we turn also to the food life, the corn, the beans, and the squash, the leaders of all the food life that grow on this world. In our longhouses, all of our ceremonies from the first gathering in the spring when we cut the trees and we take the sap and we make sugar. That's the first food that we get. And we plant our seeds and corn, beans, squash, and all through the summer, all of our ceremonies is about food. Our ancestors understood if there is no food, there is no life. And all that Creator asked of us, He gave it to us. All the Creator ever asked of us is that we give thanks. In our longhouses, when we sing, in all our ceremony houses, when we sing, we give thanks and we dance, and that's how we give thanks. They need to hear us do that again. And then we turn to what we call the waters of life. And we understand that the waters are so precious to us. And all the animals and fish and bugs that live in the water world, we give greetings to them. Because they are all part of the cycle of life. Every one of them has a special purpose. To the trees, from the red willow, from the small red willow, which is one of the heads of all medicines that came from Sky World at the beginning of our world of life, to the great maple tree that gives us its sap in the spring. We give thanks to the tree life. In the forest, from the animals, all the different kind of animals. In our language we say, they're not wild, they're natural. They have their own mind and their own ways. Those animals have survived for millions of years. And they have the strong mind, and they still live with the original instructions. And so we give greetings to them at this time. So now as one mind, we thank all things of the earth that work together in this greater being called the cycle of life. And because they take care of us, we live. And we turn to the sky, and the birds fly above our heads, from the smallest little canary all the way to the great eagle. And his relation even in the south, the condor, the dew eagle that flies so high. We acknowledge all bird life. They give us their meat and their feathers to dress our clothing. They give us their oil when we're sick. They're the gardeners. They eat the seeds and they drop their seedlings all around the earth, and the earth is always changing. So we acknowledge them. And even they say to us, they sing beautiful songs. When our people and our hearts are hurting and we're wounded to our core, where our feelings lie, and we think we can't go on, they say, wake up at the break of dawn, and the birds will give you the instructions that you need. And as soon as the sun hits the edge of the sky in the morning, every bird that lives will sing, and it will give thanks for another day of life. And so now we turn to the winds, the four winds that come from all the different directions, from the north, from the cold, west and east. They bring the rain. Just a short couple of hours ago, maybe you all heard that, the thunder came, and there were great loud booms in the sky. And maybe we saw some lightning. The thunder we call our grandfathers. They watch over us. They take care of us. And when we hear them, we burn tobacco. We say, thank you, grandfathers, for visiting us. They watch over the winds. They call the big circle winds. So that those winds, we ask them to watch over the winds so they won't come and tear up our homes and our villages. And they love us and they take care of us. And we turn to the two sons. Our older brother, the sun, works with you men. That's where you get your power. And our grandmother, the moon, she works with women. She works with the monthly cycle of a woman. This precious gift that the Creator gave you, and the great responsibility, and that women carry, that you are the ones that can carry life and give birth to children. And without this special precious gift that you carry, life would end. Our grandmother, she works with you. That is a great responsibility. And so we turn also now to the stars. We don't really know them the way we used to. But our ancestors, they say we came from the Pleiades. And we always, in our ceremonies, we understand the Pleiades is where we came from a long time ago, when Sky Woman came from the sky and landed in our world. So we acknowledge the stars. And my wife, she's always she's always come, don't forget, she said, when you thank the stars, ask them, there are rocks flying out there in the outer world, and they could be coming and heading in our world, and they could hit our earth, and our children would suffer. Ask those stars, the spirit of those stars to go around us so that our children will not meet any hardship. And so we always do that too now. And so as one mind we give thanks to all things of the sky that work with all things of the earth. And they work together in this greater being called the cycle of life. And because this cycle of life works together in unison, one heart, one mind, one body, we're able to live. That rain out there maybe it was an inconvenient moment for us. Our feet are still wet, but if we didn't have rain, there would be no life. So we acknowledge it, and we thank it for coming. Finally, now we turn our minds to the Creator and creation, and we give thanks to Creator because the Creator allowed us another day to live. And in our people, amongst our people, Creator is not sitting on some throne in the sky world watching over us. Creator is in the air that we breathe. Creator is in the trees, in the animals, in the birds that sing, in the wind that blows. Every second that you breathe a breath of air, then the Creator is passing through you. And so as one mind we give thanks to creation and the Creator. And because of that now, we're so lucky that we're still able to sit here and we're able to be alive. And so with that now we open your gathering and your minds. And we open the minds of the spirits that are around us for this next couple of weeks, so that you will have good things happening, a lot of good thoughts and good minds and good teachings happening, and then that people will be better for it. And one thing I would say is it's important. I really acknowledge McGill and the school and the good things that you guys are doing. Because we have to do these things to change the thinking of the world around us. If we don't educate the world around us about the different cultures that exist, then we will never change ignorance. We will never break the grasp of this terrible thing called racism. We have to acknowledge that the Creator, He made us all special. Every nation and every people, even to the birds and the fish, everything is a different race of people, and they're all special. And without all these different beings working together in the cycle of life, then the cycle will begin to break. And when the cycle breaks, the other things will fail, and then there will be no life. So we acknowledge you for the work that you do to educate. And maybe one day, we will educate enough people and we will begin to think of a way to make a change. We will no longer think of the earth as something that we buy and sell. We will again begin to feel and think of the earth as our mother. And you know what I tell people? I say, when the weather is nice, take your shoes off and your socks off. Go and step on the ground. Walk on the earth. Let your energy go through you from your mind to the writing on your toes. Put your feet on the earth and say to your mother, Mother, I still care for you. I still love you. Here's who I am. I give thanks for my life. And the earth will hear you. And so with these words, I guess I will open. I know I was told I can't talk too long. But if I had my way, we'd be still here tomorrow. But, sometimes they say, oh, Mohawk people, they're long-winded and they never shut up. You know what, though? I love to talk about my culture because I'm so lucky and we're so lucky. Our ancestors left us with so much to share with the people. And we need to teach our kids and our people, because if we stop talking about it, then it no longer lives. And when it no longer lives, this thing we call the world will end. This beautiful buildings and concrete is nothing in the cycle of life. It's spirit. It's creation. That's where the power is. So we thank you so much for coming and listening to my few words at this time. And I wish you, and we wish you as my family, we wish you the best of luck in anything and everything that you do. And I hope you brought your umbrella too. So when you need to go. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Otsi'tsakén. I've been a student at McGill, or I was a student. I graduated in May, but I think I heard you speak for the first time in my first year. And you coming to speak at the events at McGill has been a presence throughout my degree, and your words have guided us all. So thank you. Thank you so much, Kuyanami. So now I'd like to call up Celeste Pedri-Spade, who's the new Associate Provost at McGill for Indigenous Initiatives. She's going to share some words with us all. So let's give her a round of applause.
I'm going to hide behind this little desk here. Miigwech, everybody. Miigwech Aneeka for the introduction. Miigwech for the words that come before all words. It was really, really beautiful, and I'm learning as I come into a new space. I'm from 1,000 kilometers away. That's my homeland. My name is Celeste. My Indian name, or my spirit name, is Ananganimiwin. It means star dancing. So I'm with those stars. You know, I'm hoping that those shooting stars miss us as well. That's my name. A lot of people from where I'm from have names that relate to the sky. That's part of our connection to the spirit world and to honor where we come from, the Star Nation. I'm from Nizadikang, or that means place of poplars. That's the traditional name, but I guess the not so traditional name is Lakdamalak First Nation, which is in Treaty 3 territory. So that sort of is in between, that whole area between where Thunder Bay, Ontario is, on Lake Superior, and then you go west to the Red River settlement now is Winnipeg, right? So that's my family's home territory. I'm really honored to be here today just to speak with you, and Aneeka asked me to come and do a keynote, and she said, just 10 minutes, and I thought, okay, what am I going to talk about for 10 minutes? She said, talk about something, the importance and significance of Indigenous Awareness Week, and the work that we're doing, and the theme that we have this year, which is coming together again. And, that theme coming together again, I think it resonates with all of us, right? Because we've been in a period of our life where we were not so together. We were all working a lot in isolation. I had a baby in isolation. She was born right before the lockdown, my fourth baby, Amigwewin. And, it's awkward sometimes coming back together where everybody's trying to negotiate this and remember, right, what it means to be together again. I know I have my moments. It's like, do I shake their hand? Do I not shake their hand? You have to read the body language, all that kind of stuff. But again, my late father-in-law, Richard Spadebaugh, used to tell his son, my partner, Rob, Rob, when you go and you speak to the people, don't prepare too many words. Don't make a script. He said, go and speak from the heart. And that's easy for those men, my husband too. They're from the Namedodem, the Sturgeon clan. They're a teaching clan. Mine's not a teaching clan. I like to write, and they're great orators. They're great storytellers because they come from a teaching clan. And so when I come up here, I get nervous, and I don't think I'll ever get used to speaking to people that way, because I say I don't come by those gifts or those responsibilities as easy as they do. But that's an important teaching. That coming and speaking from the heart, because in Anishinaabe Moen, our language, the truth, the word truth actually is Odebwewin, which means to speak from the heart. So it actually, within our language, it says, to come and speak from the heart is to speak your truth as a human being. And I'm mindful of those words, to come in a good way and not be too scripted. But you know what? It's been a busy 3 weeks for me, coming into this new position, traveling from one province to the next, relocating. Feels like you're going to a new country, coming from Ontario to Quebec. And it's been a bit adjustment and a lot of time and great things to support. Where I'm running from one meeting to the next meeting, a lot of people, all the energy, and that's good because that busyness shows that people are very willing and engaged and interested in good intentions to be implementing, what McGill is committed to with those 52 calls to action. In 2017, there was a big report, that came from, it's called the Provost Task Force on Indigenous Education and Indigenous Studies. And, those were very big goals, 52 very, very big goals. And it shows, that my busyness and all the, meetings and all the things that I'm invited to shows that there's great interest and wanting to do that work and move that work forward. But it doesn't leave you a lot of time to prepare for what you're going to say when you get asked to do a keynote. And so I am here truly speaking my Dubwaywen with only minimal notes on my phone here that I was able to pull together. And I thought that, I could talk about, again, talking about that idea of the importance of coming together again, is something that we have in many Indigenous cultures, many Indigenous nations across Turtle Island, is that idea of gathering, gathering together. And how gathering has always been so important to an Anishinaabe culture. We say an Anishinaabe, which is kind of means our knowledge production systems, how we learn, how we come to know, how we share that knowledge with each other. It's all encapsulated within the idea of Anishinaabe. And, we've always known, as Anishinaabe people, that learning has always been a collective thing. It's always relied on us coming together, with our young ones, with our old ones, with our all ages, right? It's an intergenerational thing. And so I thought, maybe so that people get to know me a little bit better, I could share some of those stories that were shared with me, that part of my family's history, and those teachings on the importance of gathering. And so I was thinking about my grandmother, Shirley Schwabman, and some of the stories that she shared with me when I was actually starting university way back. She would share stories about, I think it was a moment in her life where she was sharing a lot. She was sharing a lot of things about how things used to be and how we got to where we were as a family. And I remember her talking a lot about how different it was when she was a young girl. And she talked about gathering, and I remember this one story. She talked about how when she was 4 years old, she still has memories of how gathering to go and be together with many other Anishinaabe families, it was a challenge. It was a struggle. It required a commitment and many sacrifices. Because she said, at the time when I was 4, we used to wake up really early in the morning. She says when it was dark out, and we used to, as soon as the light hit the sky, we would travel. We would walk 4 hours up the tracks. And she goes, we knew all the other families that were living around our area, around the Lac du Mille Lake system, and Shabandawan and Birchill Lake and Cashew Valley. They were all doing the same thing. And she said we would all walk and together, and we would gather together, and everybody would be there, from whatever family was around, and it was usually hosted by a family. A family would put that on, and there was food, and there was song, and there was story, she said. And, so many people came together to just learn, share ideas, but they would talk about anything that was relevant to Anishinaabe life. They would talk about the land, what they observed. They would talk about important things related to the social dynamics and kinship and all sorts of things. And she said we did that with all of the kids around, with us, And we did that, and we made ceremony part of that. We brought our drums, we brought our songs together. And so it was always that coming together was knowledge, it was ceremony, it was laughter, it was recreation, people laughing. And that was all us carrying out that those teachings, and participating in our Anishinaabe. And, she shared how, she grew up in a time of great transformation and great change in our area. And I saw that, and some of that change we know was not change that we initiated or that we welcomed, right? And she talks about those early memories, and then, then she fasts forward off into a period of her life when she was 14. And, where we live, it's a lot of water. It's like a maze, and that's actually, there's a whole other story about how that worked in the favor of our signatory chiefs when it came to signing Treaty 3, and it worked in our favor because you really don't know how to get from one point, Fort William at Thunder Bay, to Winnipeg back then unless you had a good guide, because it's just a maze of water. And so my grandmother, she grew up on an island, on a lake, Lake Kashabawi. So it's connected to Lac du Lac, where our reserve lands are, where her father was born on the reserve. But in that way, I always kind of wondered why, they lived so remote. And she said a lot of families chose to live remote. And she said, I think it had a lot to do with the fact that my father, my great Chumash, he was an Indian residential school survivor. And he was at 4 years old taken to St. Joseph's Indian residential school, which was in Fort William, now known as like Thunder Bay, became Thunder Bay later. And he wasn't allowed to go home until he was 16 years of age. And through that process, he lost his language, and he carried that trauma throughout his life, and everybody felt that, what he went through, right? It was passed on from him to his children, right? But it also, what happened in that case is that he wanted to do whatever he could to keep his children out of that same system. And so he lived a traditional lifestyle. He was a trapper. He had a trap line. And she said, nobody kind of bugged us until I was 14 years old. And then she remembers the Indian agent, the Indian Act agent, was a man who came knocking on the door at their cabin on Kashabawi Lake. And he was there to tell her father that by law, the young children, because she was the oldest of 13, had to go to residential school. But that my grandmother, being 14, was too old to go into the system. And that was when my great-grandfather, he made a very big sacrifice where he enfranchised. So what he did is my grandmother would say he struck a deal with the Indian agent, and he signed a piece of paper that said that he would give up, that they'd move from their home. He would give up his trapping, and he would get a job at the local mine and move. And if he moved and did that, then his kids can go to the day school in Kashabawi. And so he did that. And he made that kind of sacrifice. But my grandmother talks a lot about how that really changed a lot of their way of life, because those gatherings that that were so important, they were less frequented, and that kind of entered into a period of a lot of disconnect, of not only my own family, but other families. And, when that disconnect happens, when people don't gather together, it's hard to keep our knowledge flowing, our education, our own systems going, right? And so, I think I come into academia, as somebody who has always been taught about the importance of education. And I was taught that, I think, a lot of people think, my grandmother retained her language, and she retained a lot of her traditional culture because of the sacrifices that her father made. But my grandmother grew up in a hard way of life because she didn't have the kinds of skills that she believed that she should have had all the rights to, like any other person, to keep up with in a changing world, in a drastically changing world, right? And so, she felt that even though she knew that she was so rich in some ways, that she was denied access to certain things that would have been really important for her to learn. And so she always sort of really instilled that importance of education, even Western education within, myself and even my mom. And I can think about how, my mom was the first person in my community to go to university, and I was, and it took a long time for the person to get a PhD, and that was me, in 2016. And again, it's a newer, you think, what could have been if perhaps we were part of the emergence of all of this, if our ways were respected and we had the space to be here. And so this is, I'm coming with the importance of that history, that family history with me. And this is why I'm doing this work, because I know that even my little ones, I have 4 little ones, right? They have a right to be in a place like McGill, to learn and to be educated in our ways as an Anishinaabe family, but to be able to go anywhere in the world and take what they need to and bring that back to their family and their community. So that's kind of my approach, and the way I think about it is, and that comes from some of the elders in our community that were pioneers in advancing education, and they were pioneers for us being here today. The late Alex Skeedbaugh used to say, education for Anishinaabe people, that starts in our home. It starts in our home, in our lodges. It starts with the way we treat each other. It starts with our language, our ceremonies. It starts with how, our babies. And he said, when we keep our lodges strong, and we keep, the home fires strong, Anishinaabe people can go anywhere in the world. And whatever they learn, they'll always filter it through an Anishinaabe lens and come home, to their people and their nation, their community, and understand what is useful and beneficial to them. And so, again, these are just some of the things about myself, that I think inform my work, and they're important to me being here today. And, what else can I say about myself in a keynote? I just really look forward, and I'm very honored to be here. I'm honored to be in this new role. I'm so looking forward to meeting so many new people and participating in all the work that's ahead of us. And I know that it's challenging. And I know that we have to move carefully and respectfully in that work. And just chi miigwech, thank you for inviting me here today.
Thank you, Celeste. I'm still getting to know you. I only met you a couple weeks ago, and I know we'll be working closely in what's to come. And so I appreciate hearing your stories more and more, and getting to know you more and more. And I appreciate your words and your vision for the way forward here. I'd like to now call up, I think she stepped out.
She's coming right now.
Okay. We're going to have a very special Inuit throat singing performance by none other than Nina.
Is there a mic? No? Okay. That's fine. I walked out for a minute just because not to be rude to the speaker, and I think one of the things that I guess it just brought up feelings. Both my parents went to residential school as well, and I'm a scoop survivor. And this time has been hasn't been easy, right, for our community, and I feel like maybe a couple years ago, universities, colleges, organizations started taking an interest in who we were and who we are and how we see the world and how we we make decisions and what influences our decisions and all those kind of things. And but in the past couple of years, it's sped up so fast, you know, that it's kind of hard to keep up emotionally. And sometimes I forget the emotional cost to speaking, right? And to performing. And I've sang with my daughter 4 times this week, or last week. I did a performance on Saturday in Vaudreuil. I mean, they're all blessings, you know, but listening to you, I was just like, oh, shoot, right. Yeah, we've been through that. And I think that that's one of the things is, you know, sitting in this hall, I was thinking, like, how many people have sat here, and all I see around these walls are old white men in pictures. I'm going, oh, we're here. You know, you did the prayer of all the words that come before all things. And I'm sure none of these guys would have ever thought that we would be sitting in this hall saying the words that we've said, taking up the space that we do. And I felt a little bit overwhelmed because it was a real heart reminder of that it's not just words that we share or knowledge, it's really who we are. And it comes with, you know, when people say, oh, like, can you come speak to can you come speak to my class on September 30th? And I get 50 requests because it's September 30th. I'm like, is there not any other day that I can talk about who I am and what we've been through? Like, it's not just a one-day thing for us. It's an everyday, all night, from the time we have our first breath at night to the time our eyes close, you know. And it's one of the things that I teach, I try to say when I do a lot of events. I ask that people respect our limitations as Indigenous people too. You know, taking up space is really important. But it's also not going to one person and asking, can you teach me about Indigenous history since time immemorial? And I'm like, do you know how many nations there are? No. Well, there's 52 nations on Turtle Island left in Canada. Each nation has their own story. I do not, and I'm not responsible to tell you, you know. So I think taking up space is really important. And I think, you know, when we do just being who we are, you know, these walls have heard a lot of things, and I think this space is really important, and I'm really thankful for being part of the process too. But your speech really kind of like shook me a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that happened. But I get to be here with the next generation. My daughter Sarah is here with me, and we're going to be doing some throat singing. And that was also banned, right? Like, it was illegal for us to do that. They thought it was
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. That they thought we were singing to the devil.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's because you didn't understand. You're scared of our power. They're like, they shouldn't be allowed to make those noises. Whoa, what are they conjuring on? We can't control that. Let's call it the devil and ban it. So, we're about to do some, I'm not okay, come here. So this is my daughter Sierra. You can introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sierra Segalowitz. This is my mother. Well, I'm mixed from place with Northwest Territories, so I'm Inuit and then Sydney, and my father is from France, so yeah. But I was born in Montreal, and I've been throat singing since I was 16 years old. the songs that we're going to be singing, they're mostly from like the Baker Lake, right? Where are they from?
They're from Nunavut, and one song is from Baker Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I want to go start.
that's one of the songs.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had some salmon. So I'm trying to sing and not sound like I just had salmon and bang it. So the throat song, like, I think Inuit throat singing is something we've been doing for thousands of years. Has nothing to do with it though. But it's basically just sounds like we hear nature, and as women, we used to take care of the igloo and we would light our kumbik, which is our lamp, and we would wear our traditional outfits. These are actually made by my friend who's from Kanien'kehá, and these earrings as well. And that's one of the things, we're always crafty, right? As women, we always have to figure out how to make clothes from something, no matter what it was in the day. We didn't have fabric film back then. So we used caribou or whatever animals we had. And so a lot of our outfits were made with caribou or seal skin, and so during the times when the men were out hunting and providing for us, we were inside taking care of the kids and doing our thing. And throat singing was a part of like competition. So the first woman to laugh was the not winner or loser, but I prefer not winner. And we would compete sometimes for things, like we would compete for items. If I saw something that I liked, if she had an ulu, which is our traditional woman's knife, I was like, oh, I want that ulu, and I would be like, oh, I'm gonna sing with you for it. And if I win, then I get the ulu. So, and the songs that we sing, are songs that have been passed down for thousands of years. We don't actually make up songs. We can kind of change the sounds and rhythms to kind of compete with each other, which are a few songs that are actually made for competition. But if you ever get to listen to old recordings of Inuit women who can do Inuit throat singing, their ability to make sounds, like I over time, the sounds have gotten lost, right? Because our language has become written into syllabics. Sorry. I saw a lot of the nuance, which is true with all First Nations, like languages and Indigenous languages. It gets written, like it kind of gets lost once you have to kind of minimize it to just like fit into like ABC or, like those. There's nothing like there's the. Like how do you put that into like a like it's impossible, right? So like the songs that we sing are very people say it's a ceremony. I don't think that Inuit women did it on purpose as the ceremony. We made First Nations, like I'm half Dene, so we have Dene, and for us we do have ceremony songs, right, as First Nations. But I don't think Inuit were like, okay, let's do ceremony. But I think just being and doing things to teach our kids how to do things in a good way was ceremony, but unspoken, right? So, you want to begin first? So that's the sound of thank you. was trying not to laugh. I was thinking of all these guys going, what the? If you were just talking, I'd just be like, oh, what? So that was the sign of the rivers. It's pebbles, like the water going over to pebbles. You know, and for us knowing the waters and knowing the environments and knowing when to fish and when to follow the caribou, you know, like that's what helped us sustain, you know, like the elders were an oral people. And that's my friend Maria, who works with me at Southern Quebec Inuit Association. She really reminded me of that, you know, like sitting in this classroom and taking notes and things like that. That's not how we traditionally would learn, right? We're an oral people, so if I wanted to learn how to do a craft, or if I wanted to learn how to be a good hunter, I just go be with the best hunters and listen to them, and that's how we would learn. So, so different regions of Inuit territory. We have Nunavut, Nunavut, Northwest Territories. We have Labrador as well, and each area has its own style of singing depending on the dialect. And this is called Bakerway. It's from Bakerway. It's called the Low Song. I'm going to announce it our lecture, but do any of you have any questions about what? Yeah.
That was very broad. Are most songs typically about that length? Or are they long ones?
Actually, it's we've been throat singing together for a few years now, so we've kind of been able to go a little bit longer than usual. But it's fun when you meet other throat singers, because then because there's a repertoire, right? It's like if they know the river or they know the love song, then we can sing, and even if we've never sang together before, we know that the repertoire, and so sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter, but yeah.
It's mainly a competition. It was mainly a competition back in the day to kill time.
Yeah.
For Inuit women to throat sing, so that's why there's this component of them, because it's imitating the sounds behind. So
Yeah, there's one that's called the goose, and it goes. And once they're singing together, it goes. And it, yeah, yeah. So it really comes from our. Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much. If there's any other questions, no.
No, I just want to say thank you so much, and it's nice what you said about how songs are what you hear in our family, and also what almost like the land was like.
Yeah.
What the sound is, because we have a lot of songs in where we're from.
Wow.
And it's it's so different. Obviously because it's an Anishinaabe, but what you said made me think about that song and then what the land is like.
Yeah. And it's it doesn't matter which nation we're from, right? But we have that connection of family and of community and of our territory and outside, and how that kind of shapes and keeps shaping on who we are, right? So.
I think I could have been a Mohawk throat singer. We parked way at the bottom of the hill, and I was running up to the top. When I got to the top of the stairs, I was going.
Or something that sounds like me when I try to do like the smoke dance. I'm like, I'm in open day, I should not be doing this.
You know what, one of the things though is amongst all Native people, the one thing that wherever we come from, we have humor. We laugh at it ourselves, we joke with somebody else, and that's our healing.
Very much.
You know, people, a lot of places, people get very rigid and stiff and protocol.
Or those pictures of us in historical, we're always like, I'm like, I keep imagining them like cracking up after they've taken that picture. As if. I'm like, good, showing up with me for having this. I'm really proud of the next generation of folk singers.
Oh, yeah. Way to go.
It's always so beautiful to see families share culture, families sing together and practice those traditions. And I'm a throat singer too, and I've just learned so much from what they've said and what they've shared. And I love Nina's sense of humor. I think she made us all laugh. For our last performance, we're going to hear some Mohawk social songs. So I'm going to call up Iakotennikonhrare. Gabrielle taught me Mohawk in my first year, so I better get these right. Tiohatehkwen and Karihwatéhkwen. So let us welcome them and they'll share some songs.
Also, thanks, such an intimate group. So, guys, I was going to go and put the Gorna Neon Jats, don't know what Karihwatéhkwen got on, Jeep McGill, nay. Don't know, yeah, Jeep Nua. Good day, we still had Jay Nua. So, I was a professor here from 2017 to just this past last December. I didn't teach last semester. But the theme is coming together again. I'm really happy to be here again. This is going to be like forever my home. I have a very special place in my heart for McGill because it's brought me to Montreal area and it's brought me to the family that I'm with now. So I'm really grateful for the opportunities that I've had at McGill. So yeah, that's me. A little bit about me. I'm a doctoral student right now, and just finishing up my comps. So yay for that. And this is my boyfriend, which is Ojijigara's son, Tiohatehkwen. He's also a student in computer science right now. And this is our daughter, Karonhiakwas, and she's also grade 10, and they've been singing together since she was just a little girl. So and I sang in my own community, so kind of something we like to do and enjoy doing together. So we've got a few songs for you today. The first one that we're going to do is the round dance. No. All right. And before we start, I just want to explain the drum a bit from Tiohatehkwen, what he's taught me. So he's taught me that the outside of the drum, like this part, the Ganajowi part, that's like the like our bodies, our physical being, our physical bodies, but also it's representative of the earth as well. And on top of that, we have the skin or the leather, like the skin on our bodies, but also too the skin, like Ojijigara was talking about, the grasses that cover the earth. It's like all of that protection that protects inside. And inside the drum, this is our water drum. So inside there is water, and just like our bodies inside of us, we're filled with water, and we need water. I think we're made of 78% water, 75% water, and with the earth too, the water that runs through the earth and gives life to everything. And then on the outside, to keep it all together, we have the ring, which is representative of like all the cycles of the life cycles in our own lives, and also the cycles that keep the earth continuous. So it's just a little quick teaching about the drum. Do you have anything to add to that? How'd I do? So the first song that we're going to sing is the round dance. We can't really dance in here with the slope floors or anything, so we're just going to sing, I guess.
One thing she missed was
okay.
the cycle of life, when it all combines together and everything is in unity and it's tight and whatnot. You hear the heartbeat.
Okay, I missed the most important part.
That's the heartbeat of the drum. So the heartbeat of the world. Okay?
Oh, let me get my
So round dance is the first song we're gonna sing, and one.
So the next dance we're gonna just sing for you is the women's dance, and there's two like versions of women's dance. The one type we do is like a ceremony. These songs that we're singing for you today are all social songs. They're sung to bring people together. They're sung for anybody. They're not ceremonial songs. But there is a version of the women's dance that is ceremonial song, but this is like the social song of it. And what it is like when in our creation story, we're told that the sky woman, she fell from the earth, fell from the sky world down to the turtles back to make the earth. And when she first came, she had some seeds that she grabbed onto when she was falling from the sky world, and the roots and plants, and she was grabbing onto them, and she needed some earth to be brought up from the bottom of the ocean to be put on the turtle's back. And when the animals, the water beings, they dove down, the different ones dove down and tried to grab them, and finally the muskrat was how I understand it, was the one that was able to dig deep enough to get some earth for her. And when she was able to put it in her hands, and she got it, and she started putting it on the turtle's back. And when she did that, she put her seeds in with it. And when she did that, she started to dance and squish the dirt down with the seeds and spread that all around. So when she started spreading the earth, it spread and made the turtle's back larger and larger, so that she was able to create this earth that we live on today. So that's where the women's songs come from. And so yeah, do you have anything to add?
And
Tiohatehkwen.
if you seen the way she was dancing and
You do it better than I do.
sneakers, it's hard.
Yeah.
But your feet never leave the ground. So the women, it's like they take care of the earth. You know, so when their feet never leave the ground, it's like they're shifting. They're shifting the ground. They're the planters. So they shift the ground, they mix things up, but they also, they never lose that connection to earth. And that's what their dance symbolizes, huh?
When they plant the seeds, put the seeds in the ground, they call that dance, they call that Iwasitagozaran'ye, where they rub their feet into the soil. So when they put a seed here, then they step on it and they rub it into the ground. And so that's why women's dance is called rubbing their feet on the earth. And it's a shuffle dance. Their feet is never supposed to leave the earth.
Or
Supposed to
stop.
always
or-
touch
Yeah.
the earth.
You want to do one?
Let's do one more.
One woman's or is it three?
The three.
Oh.
I want to do that one at night.
Huh?
You're everybody.
Well, that's the way I sing. I usually sing sitting down. Friendship and rabbit.
All right. So next we'll do the friendship dance. And yeah, just bring this all together. For our banner. Thanks for asking us to be part of this. They're asking, who do you know? It's like, oh, pick me. I will come back to McGill. So thank you all for listening to us. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
End of our performances for the ceremony, but we have lots of food. There's bannock, smoked salmon, and cream cheese from Roundhouse Cafe in Cabot Square, and some other food from McGill Dining Services. If you have a sweet tooth, you're in luck, so please eat and don't feel ashamed to take stuff in your pockets. We're going to have lots left over, so enjoy. Thank you for coming again. I like the small, intimate gathering, actually, and I'm glad we were able to share the space in such an intimate way. So thank you. I hope to see you at some of the other events. For Indigenous Awareness Weeks, we have events every day for the next 2 weeks, and you can find them on our website, Indigenous Initiatives. If you go to the News and Events tab, you'll see our poster, which was designed by a Métis artist and a McGill alumni, Joel Grant. So we're happy to share his art and have it be the symbol of what we're doing here. So thank you, Kuya Nami.